Welcome to Seltzer Squad, the podcast about staying sober in the city, with your hosts, Kate Zander and Jess Valentine.
Hey, Kate, how can people get more Seltzer Squad in their lives?
We have finally launched our Seltzer Squad Patreon, where you'll be able to get early access to episodes on Wednesdays instead of Fridays, our monthly bonus episode. And if you really love us and you're the slickest bitch around, you will also be able to see video podcast recordings.
I mean, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want more Kate and Jess in their lives?
But in all seriousness, it really does help us move the podcast forward.
Yes. Subscribe at patreon.com/Seltzer Squad and help us keep this pod going.
Nat, welcome to the pod.
Kate, I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so excited to tell you about our new sponsors for the new year.
Who is it?
So we have Brainwashed Coffee, and Brainwashed Coffee is amazing because 50% of all of the proceeds support addiction recovery. One of my sober treats this year was an espresso machine, so I'm really excited to use Brainwashed Coffee to make some lattes. Brainwashed has a 20% off discount when you use the code Seltzer Squad at checkout. It's brainwashedcoffeeco.com. Use the discount code at checkout, get 20% off. Let's all get caffeinated and crush our goals.
Yeah, stay caffeinated.
Hi, Jess.
Hey, Kate.
Hi, Molly.
Hey, Molly.
Hi, y'all.
Hey, guys. We have, I don't know how to say your last name.
Ruggere.
We have Molly Ruggere on the pod today. She is an alcohol freedom coach. She's the founder of Counterculture Club. She's a community leader for ambitious, badass, creative individuals where they can come together, explore new interests, dream big, and conquer the limiting cultural belief that alcohol is required for a colorful, sophisticated life of freedom. I'm a terrible reader, so I think I did great there. Welcome, Molly. What did we miss in that intro?
Yeah, tell us everything.
I think you got the gist. Yeah, so Counterculture Club is just a group for women. We're virtual and we also have some in-person events, and we are just a group for people to come together and explore an alcohol-free lifestyle through events and membership and community.
Yes, and we have been a guest at the Counterculture Club, which was
Yeah.
exciting, and I feel like our squads overlap a bit, so hopefully our squad
we
is
do.
more familiar with you and vice versa.
Yeah, I think actually a couple people, I posted in your Facebook group about the membership a while back, and we got a couple people joined the group as a result of that.
Exciting.
So our members were
good.
very excited when they heard I was coming on the pod.
Mhm.
And when y'all joined the panel that we had as well. What was that? That was the dating
Yep.
panel.
Sex and dating. Yeah. Well, Kate did one first, which was what? Like
Marriage?
marriage?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We should make it into a whole series because there is so much to cover. We never have enough time to get through all of that.
It
Yeah.
was really fun. Wait,
feel
could
like
our
that's-
squad go back and listen to that? How would they get to that if they're not a member?
So I haven't posted the links, but
Okay.
I have all of the links. So if they wanted to email me directly,
Will they join
do they
join the club though? They join the club and then they get access, or is it like over?
They can join the club and get
Okay,
access.
so join the club, guys.
Every
Okay.
member
Yes.
has all access
Okay.
to all of our previous panels.
Okay,
Yes.
so if you want to
that's
listen
awesome.
to us babble on about our loved ones, you can join the club and then you get full access for forever.
Forever.
Okay, so welcome. I want to talk about your journey because I know you moved. I purposely don't know that much because I wanted
Okay.
to have you as a guest so that we could learn all about your journey and what it looks like and how it's sort of evolved into a new pivot, like a career pivot for you also. So take us back to the beginning about what happened. What happened,
Yeah.
Molly? What
went
happened?
wrong,
Yeah, what
Molly?
went wrong? What's going right?
Tell us your war stories. Well, it's been a while since I've told this story, so I'll try and make it brief. But basically, I started drinking. Similar story to a lot of people. Started drinking in late high school, tried it occasionally. I didn't hang out with the super cool kids. So none of my friends really drank regularly, but whenever I had the opportunity, I was all about it. I was very shy. I had social anxiety as a kid. So once I discovered alcohol, I was like, oh, this makes everything so much easier. And I can talk to guys and I'm so funny and all that. And then I went to college.
Wait, where did you grow up? Area?
In Charlotte, North
Okay, got
Carolina. Yeah. So went to school in South Carolina, similar trajectory, binge drinking on the weekends, like crazy blackouts, frat parties, yada, yada. But we were all doing the same thing. And I was very much like Monday through Thursday, like doing all my schoolwork, honor roll. I did like 8 internships, lots of activities, extracurriculars. I've always like thought I had to do a lot of things to be accomplished. Like I thought I would never get into college. So I did all of these like extracurriculars and AP classes to get into a school. And then when I was in college, I thought I would never get a job. So I did all of these internships to get a job. So then I graduated and moved to DC, and I was there for a full-time internship at Ogilvy, it's like a social media position. Drinking wasn't a big deal there. Kind of, if anything, took it back a little bit. I was really focused on the job there. But then at the end of the summer, I decided to move to New York City, and I moved there for a music PR internship. Didn't have a place to live, moved there with 2 suitcases, and moved in with like my ex-boyfriend in his like railroad apartment in Williamsburg.
Wait, how old are you at this point in time?
At this point, I am 22.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there in New York, my drinking just progressed kind of. I mean, you guys live there, so you know how it is. Like it's
as soon as you said you moved to Williamsburg at 22, I'm like, oh no,
yeah,
honey, I know where this is going.
It's like I think back to I moved right around Hurricane Sandy, so I think back to when Hurricane Sandy was happening, and my provisions were like 1 6-pack of like Shandy beers and like a bunch of Luna bars. But like that was like
you were
like
ready.
That much amount of alcohol. Like, so it wasn't, I had food, but I was like, alcohol was not a concern. Whereas like by the end of my time in New York, I feel like my alcohol provisions would have been like a case of wine. So that's kind of like the poles of where we started and where it ended. But so yeah, I mean, it just continued to
was it your crew friends. Or what was it like? What changed to make the alcohol consumption escalate? Was it that you were going out to meet people?
New York.
New York. Yeah, I mean, I worked in public relations, and we'd have lots of events, and my friends were in music and music journalism, and we lived in walking distance from all these bars, and like that was what we did for fun. Like,
yeah, and they're open till like 4:00.
Yeah, so the time I was out just extended. I started breaking all of these like little rules I used to have. Like I used to not like drinking in the afternoon because it made me tired, and then I would spend like every Sunday going from brunch to bar to bar to bar. And so yeah, it just kind of progressed, and I wasn't really even aware of how much of a role it was playing in my life and how important it had gotten. But then I'd say by the time I got to like 25, I was in a relationship that was pretty serious. And I think drinking was a big factor in why that ended. It wasn't really pointed to specifically, but I would get drunk and like start crying and be like, you don't love me anymore. And, like that kind of thing. It was long distance. My insecurities would come out. And then once that relationship ended, I just like fell into a pit of like despair. And it became like drinking was self-soothing for me. And it transformed from going out and having fun with friends to being like, I'd rather just go home, pick up a bottle of wine on my walk home from work and like drink and watch TV and go to bed. So it really wasn't fun anymore. And then I guess at this point I'm about 20, I was 27, and I started experiencing like some health issues. My liver enzymes were elevated.
How did you find that out? How does one know?
I went to the doctor because I was just like, my face was really bloated, like just weird things were happening. And so I think I actually asked them to test my liver.
Okay.
Because I knew what was causing everything, but nobody was really like asking the questions at like the doctors weren't. So I was just like, maybe like, can we just check out my liver and see how that's doing?
They're like, you're 27, you're fine.
Yeah, like, you're fine.
Yeah. Well, even the doctor was like, you need to lay off the whatever ibuprofen or whatever the pain medication for like headaches and stuff. And I was like, I don't ever take that because of all of my drinking. So yeah, it was just really bad. I had another job in PR that just was really demanding, and I just kind of hated it. So there was just nothing left for me in New York, and it just felt like time to go. And I just needed a fresh start. And also my family was like noticing how unhappy I was and that my drinking had progressed, and they were really worried about all these health issues that were coming up. So they suggested that I move back here to Charlotte, which I did, and got reluctantly sober. I did not want to get sober, but it was kind of like a rule for staying with my parents is like if I was going to live with them, I couldn't be drinking. And so
Now, did they think you had a problem? Is that why they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, tell me
really
what
kinda
that looked like. I'm like so curious about the parents who have boundaries and stick to them.
Yeah. Well, so what happened was I called my parents crying one night because that was like my new routine. I would like pick up the wine, get home, call my mom, start crying. And so one night she was just like, "Do you want your dad to come up and visit you?" And I said, "Yeah, like, okay." Not really realizing like what it was. And it sort of was like an intervention, like you need to do something. This is like not good. So they basically like made the decision for me that I needed to get sober, which I had never tried moderating. I was just like, it wasn't even a thought in my mind that it was something I should consider. So
okay, so you move in with your parents. What does the first 10 days look like?
Well, so they were saying you need to do some kind of recovery program. You can't just they were like, you can't just cold turkey. My dad is an AA. So he
this is making more sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, your parents are amazing and self-aware.
So they knew what to look for.
Got it.
So
the signs were there.
So my dad they wanted me to do AA, and I was like, absolutely not. No interest in that. Like, I did not think I was an alcoholic or want to call myself an alcoholic, but I was like pretty desperate because I dog sat for a family when I was in Charlotte, and they left me they had a wine cellar and left me a bunch of wine, and I just like drank it and got drunk all weekend by myself. So then it was like, oh, the geographical fix isn't actually going to work, and maybe I do need to stop. So I went to AA reluctantly after trying like smart recovery and trying to find anything else that might help. But they're just like, I couldn't find anything. I don't know if I just wasn't Googling the right stuff, but really there were not many programs that I could find, at least in person. So
I don't think you weren't Googling the right things. I think that, when you did that, there really wasn't that many outlets for us besides from AA and smart recovery. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it was even you. I think that that's just like what I'm just saying that's what I experienced as well, which is why, and we'll get into it, why I'm so grateful that like people like you are doing what you're doing and people are grateful for what we're doing. So yeah, it was really shitty, huh? This is your option.
I don't really remember what I Googled per se, but I just I couldn't find anything other than AA, smart recovery. I think there was refuge recovery. I tried one of those meetings as well, but here in Charlotte, at least there was 3 people there, and it just seemed like AA was the only place to go. So got a sponsor. I did 90 meetings in 90 days because that's what she told me to do. And sobriety and working on my recovery became a full-time job. I was very fortunate that I was able to come and live with my parents and kind of recalibrate and figure out what the heck I wanted to do. But, it was hard because I was 27 and I felt like I had failed because I had built this life in New York and went there, with the whole romantic, 2 suitcases. And I did for a long time have a great career in PR. But it just became a really bad environment for me. And I knew I couldn't get sober if I stayed where I was.
Wow, that's
I feel
amazing.
like that's such a common theme amongst people that we have spoken to in PR or advertising or whatever, where you're supposed to even Kate, where you're supposed to go out and hang out with your coworkers or hang out with clients and just get fucking shit faced, and everything in New York revolves around drinking and bars. Okay, we'll just meet at the bar. Oh, we'll just, it's so I feel like it's just so many people have gone through this, and I feel can relate because it's fucking insane. And it doesn't mean that you're failing or anything like that. It's just shedding light on this is a fucking problem, like in the professional industries like this. Like it's bad.
Yeah.
I feel like the
Yeah. And
professional
it just
industries.
became
Sorry, go ahead,
like
Molly.
what everyone else was doing. So I didn't really realize it was an issue until I was like taking it that step further and like
Yeah.
drinking when I was depressed and like wanting to go home and drink before I went out with friends because my tolerance had gotten so high. But yeah, it was just so normal to go out on a Tuesday, stay out till 4 a.m. and then go to work. And all my friends, like, they were lawyers and had really successful jobs. Like, all my friends were really career motivated and had their shit together on the outside. And so I just had no idea until I was like, oh, my liver enzymes are elevated. Maybe I should look at this.
So what were the 90 and 90 like? Did you have insights? Did you have big learnings or takeaways from that? Or was it just really hard? Like,
it's funny because I feel like I kind of had the same mentality that I had in college, which was like, I have to do all of the things. Like I did the steps in like 3 months. I just was like given an assignment, so I had to do it. Honestly, it feels like so long ago. It's weird because it was only 3 years ago, but it was helpful. I never found a meeting that had people that I really connected with that were my age that I would like want to be friends with. But I did have a really great sponsor who I learned a lot from. I think doing the steps process was helpful. But I mean, the main thing that set me off from wanting to stick around in the rooms was like, I just didn't want to continue with, there just felt like there was no progression. Like you just kind of are in the rooms and rehashing these stories, and it, you know, you continue to do the steps, but like there's no kind of graduation from that point. And it just felt, I just couldn't believe that there was only one way. And then if one way didn't work for me, that it was my problem. But yeah, I mean, I could go on and on. Like I used to say that AA just had like a marketing problem because
yeah, totally.
Like, nobody wants to go
It's
and
bad
drink
branding.
coffee out of styrofoam cups and like in a dingy basement.
Yeah.
You know, not that all meetings are like that at all, but
Totally.
you know, I was just like, I want to find more things.
Enough are.
Yeah, I wanted to find more things to like explore in sobriety and spend less time talking about what I couldn't do.
Jess, are you listening to any good books?
Right now, I'm actually listening to an Audible exclusive podcast.
Ooh, I'm listening to Blackout by Sarah Hepola.
Oh, I listened to that one back in the day.
I mean, I'm a huge proponent of Audible. I love listening to Quit Lit or really any book. But did you know, Squad, that you can use our discount code to get a free month of Audible? Meaning you get a free book if you sign up?
That's right. Just go to audibletrial.com/Seltzer Squad and get a free month on us. I actually just signed up myself using it.
Jess, what's our number one piece of advice when people are getting sober?
Therapy.
So much therapy that I'm going to school to be a giver of therapy.
This is true.
BetterHelp reached out to partner with us at the Seltzer Squad to offer 10% off a monthly membership to BetterHelp.com.
What is BetterHelp.com?
BetterHelp is an online therapy platform that is for individuals, for couples. You take a short quiz, you get matched up with a mental health professional, and you, through the app, are able to video, or you can just message back and forth with a licensed professional to give you counseling and guidance on anything and everything that you're going through.
So how do our listeners use our code?
You just go to betterhelp.com/Seltzer Squad and you'll receive 10% off your first month. What have you found to be the most helpful thing in your recovery?
I kind of built a patchwork of tools that really worked for me. So I was in the AA for maybe the first year. And then that was when I started finding Instagram. I started posting every day on my personal Instagram account that I made to chronicle my sober journey. And through that, I found Holly Whitaker podcast. I found your podcast. I've been listening to your podcast since day one. So
Thank you.
fan. And then I just started listening to different stories and realizing that there were different paths that people have followed, because you kind of don't hear that unless you go and seek it out. So podcasts, like I said, were really big for me, and lots of Quit Lit. I just immersed myself in like educating myself and reading about, the brain and what's happening to the brain. And because I hadn't been informed of like what was actually going on like a chemical level in my body. And it just made more sense to me then, like rather than accepting it as just like a flaw, or like I'm abnormal, or I have this, issue that no one else has. Because what didn't make sense to me was that all my friends drink the way I did, but not until I said I have a problem and stopped did I become this, separate person from society.
Yeah. And like, it's just fucked up. Like, who gets to like, it's a disease. So who it affects it feels selective on the other side, being on the bad end of the disease. It feels like I feel like it's unfair a lot of the times, but I don't regret my decision,
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, along the way of like exploring all these tools and listening to these podcasts, it became something that I was proud of and happy about. And my life started getting better, like on every level. And along the way, I was just like, oh, like I don't even want to drink anymore. It was like a mindset shift that happened. It wasn't something I actively sought out or even knew could happen, but it definitely like did click for me. And now I'm at the point where like I don't miss drinking at all. Like I miss certain feelings or social situations or like that
vibes.
Yeah.
What we think is the vibe. Yeah.
Drunk, or like I don't ever, like if I'm just sitting at home, like the thought never occurs to me like I wish I could go have a bottle of wine anymore.
And how sober are you? How long have you been sober now?
I'm so sober, Jess.
So sober today?
So sober.
3 years.
That's amazing.
Oh, nice. I feel like you and I are about the same then. I'm coming up on 3 years. Yeah. So how did you start Counterculture Club? Like, how did that come to be? I'm going to assume, just assuming here, that it's kind of like us, where we're like, there's not enough outlets, especially for women. I need to make one myself, because just sitting here waiting for it, it's not like nothing's going to fucking happen. But
yeah,
tell us.
That's it. I mean, I was, I didn't want to go back to AA just to find friends, but I wanted to find connection with like-minded people that also didn't drink alcohol, that wanted to do activities. And there was so much that I wanted to fill my time with. And I just wanted to find more people that wanted to do that too. So like going on hikes and trying out new workout classes and painting classes. Like once I got sober, I just developed like curiosity and interest again. And like there was so much I wanted to explore. So I was like, I can't be the only one in this city. There's like millions of people in this.
Right.
Totally.
I can't be the only one that like isn't in AA, but also wants to connect with other people that are alcohol free. So
what did it like start as? Like, was it I don't know, Facebook group, or like, how did it kind of evolve?
I told a friend about the idea and she was really into it. And she also works in PR. So she very much like validated it for me, helped me like kind of start our first few things. What I think that we started with a meetup group on meetups and Facebook. We had like a couple coffee meetups, and then we got an article published about us in the local like big digital outlet. It was called Charlotte Agenda. So once that story ran, that was like a feature on us. It kind of got the word out. And we had a big event planned in March of last year and had to cancel because of the pandemic. So that was when we kind of changed the whole trajectory of what it was going to be, and went from it being this in-person event based group, very local to Charlotte, to an online virtual community with, events like what you all participated in, the panels. And like we do tarot card parties and book club and yoga and all these things on Zoom. Now we have members from like all over the country. So that's been cool, like a cool result of.
Yeah, it's awesome because obviously it's like grown, because it was mostly just Charlotte in the beginning, and now it's like literally all of
Yeah,
America.
yeah. We've got people in New York, and I think someone in Illinois just joined. So it's been
That's
really
awesome.
cool. And it's just a really awesome group of it's the exact group that I've like dreamed up in my head that I wanted to be friends with. And it's just very exciting that I was able to find them just by kind of putting out the bat signal and being like, anybody else want this community too? So
Yeah. What would you say has been your biggest sober win in this journey so far?
oh my gosh, that is a hard question.
Kate always has hard questions.
Sorry.
I think honestly, so I think that I drank for confidence and for self-esteem and to feel cooler, hotter, all of those things. And by drinking, I wasn't accomplishing any of that. Like, if anything, I'm ingesting more calories. I'm like damaging my skin. I'm doing things I regret. I'm embarrassing myself. I'm building on more shame and, impacting my self-esteem more. So really, it wasn't until sobriety that ironically I was able to achieve self-esteem, confidence, better skin, like fitness, like a regular fitness routine. Like I was able to do all of the things that I thought I needed alcohol to supply and actually achieve them and not just like have that false temporary sense that I was those things.
Yeah, I feel like the connection aspect is so major in sobriety. Like everybody's searching for connection and like that understanding of like that's why our squad is so strong. That's why your, club is so strong because people are just want to be accepted for who they are. And the interesting thing that I found about being a guest on the Counter Club like show, I guess, a panel.
Panel.
Was that you can like
show. I like that.
you can cut into the like really vulnerable stuff right away because you're not worried about perception, right? Like when I was drinking, I was worried about how I was being perceived constantly. And without the drinking, like I have no choice but to show up as myself. And you sort of have to make peace with that. Like me or don't like me, I still have to come, or whatever. And so I feel like we're all able to connect on deeper issues and the things that are really bothering us because we don't have to like keep up appearances like when we were drinking, there's no like, oh, I need a drink in order to talk about this. Like you can really dive into the vulnerability a little bit easier.
Totally.
Like I thought that your I'm going to just call it your squad, everybody's squad. Your squad seemed to want to get deeper like right away. You know what I mean? And we were able to go there, which I thought was interesting.
I mean, a lot of us actually have never met in person, but every Thursday we get on our virtual share circle and we just talk about real shit and like what's going on in people's lives. And half the time alcohol isn't really even talked about, but it's just like getting through life together and working through whatever is happening in someone's lives. And like sobriety kind of plays into a lot of different issues from like relationships to career to health and all of those things. So It's just nice to connect with people that are on the same page and like kind of cut through all of the nonsense that often comes with socializing when you have like that buffer with alcohol. So
what was the hardest like milestone for you? Or
that's what I like.
Oh, sorry, Jess, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say how I appreciate that, like how you were saying that you guys have your meetings and you don't necessarily even discuss alcohol. And I feel like that's really important because just because we're all sober doesn't mean that we have to like sit down, all like hold hands and just talk about sobriety all the time. Sometimes you just want someone who's on the same level as you that you can even just vent to, someone who you could just be like, oh, like my I don't know, mother is like pissing me off, like whatever, because you can't necessarily do that with someone who drinks because they're just going to drink about it. Not saying always, but I'm just saying someone, I don't know, we're just more in touch with our feelings sometimes since we're not drinking to suppress them.
Maybe we're more in touch with pain.
Yeah. With pain?
Maybe we're all more like maybe because we're sober, we're more in touch with pain. And like when I wasn't sober, I was avoiding pain so much.
I think, we're all in touch with all of it.
Right.
Like every emotion, like that's what we actually did a panel last night about like sobriety fatigue. And I think that
yes,
part of the challenge with sobriety is that we're all in 100% present for everything. And sometimes like the work can feel exhausting because you don't have that like easy button of like, I'm just going to drink and not think about this for a little bit. And I mean, it's great that we don't have that, because that doesn't actually help. It just compounds the problem. But it gets exhausting to have to like be 100% present, especially for years like 2020. And, you know, so to have people that get that and like have that baseline and can talk from that lens is like, I think what makes the conversation so strong.
That's such a
Agreed.
good point.
I feel like I get sobriety fatigue lately
Mhm.
sometimes. It's like, oh, can we talk about literally anything but sobriety? At a certain point in your life, you're not like it's not always on the forefront of your mind. It like slowly, like every year, it kind of gets pushed back a little bit and just becomes like part of you, not something that you're focusing on. So
Yeah.
I feel like if we didn't have the podcast, obviously sobriety wouldn't be such a big part of my life. But I think it is really easy to get fatigued sometimes, because just like, I just don't even want to think about having to be sober right now. I just want to fucking turn that off and not drink, be sober, but I just want to be sober, not think about being sober. So I feel like must have been a really good meeting.
I'll send you the link. You can watch.
Yes, perfect.
Guys, join the club.
Yeah, Jess.
So every episode, well, you probably know if you listen, then we like ask a bunch of questions to some people. So Kate, do you want to like take it away? Well, I know the first one. So a lot of our squad members are in baby sobriety. So do you have any just advice for people who are just kind of starting to dip their toe in the sobriety pool, and just any recommendations on finding friends or just literally anything in general?
Yeah, I think I kind of come from a place where I think one size fits one. I think that we all come into drinking for different reasons, and we all come into sobriety for different reasons. So it takes some internal work to figure out why you chose alcohol for whatever path it was. You know, some people have trauma, some people have social anxiety, kind of like getting to know yourself and figuring out what areas of your life you need to work on aside from like letting go of alcohol. And again, like the community piece is so key. When I was sober, I called strangers because I was just like, I need to talk to anybody that can tell me what to do. I mean, anybody that's listening to the podcast is doing the exact right thing, because it's finding resources like this and stories and just hearing from people that are, you know, 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps ahead of you, that can kind of like speak to where you are and like show you that you can get past that point. And I think just being gentle with yourself, like, you know, we're taught to be so afraid of a slip, or like that we have to strive for this perfection. And like, you know, it's tough, like shit happens. Like if you're a vegan and you eat a burger one day, you're no longer a vegan. So it's like, you're a human being, and you can, you know, you're okay if you make a mistake or whatever it is. You just gotta keep going.
I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. That is very important, to just be nice to ourselves. Do you have a hot mess hoedown that you would like to share?
Yeah, do you have a
us?
hot mess story?
Do you have like a Williamsburg nightmare mess?
I have a lot, of course. Kate, I feel like you commented on one of my Instagrams and said I need to hear the rest of the story, but I don't remember what it was.
I don't remember what it was either.
I don't either. But well, one of my favorites is hopefully like, oh, well, anyway, my stories are out there, so it's fine. When I was in college, we would go out to the bars, like the same strip of gross dive bars in Columbia, South Carolina. And I was wearing heels, and I tripped into like a rocky ditch in our poorly paved roads in Columbia and dashed my knee open and went into the bars with a bleeding knee. By then I had several Four Locos, I'm pretty sure. So I was like,
oh no,
lost to the world.
It's fine.
And I was bleeding. Like people were in the bathroom trying to help me like clean up the blood. And one of my guy friends like saw that I was bleeding, like carried me out of the bar. We walked back from the bars to campus. I think I like had lost a shoe at some point, definitely lost my whole wallet. And I decided that I wanted food, but I didn't have any money to buy the food. So he took me to the cafeteria and
wait, is he like, carrying you the whole ass time?
Yes. And I was just saying I wanted breakfast because it was like 2 a.m. or something, and they served breakfast late night.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any money, but he was like, can you please just give her some breakfast? She's really hungry. And so we sat out on this, and this story was told to me. I don't really remember it, of course, but we sat out on like the little outdoor patio and ate like biscuits and bacon. And then he carried me back to my dorm. And the next day I woke up and like was still bleeding. So I had to go to the university hospital and get stitches in my knee.
Oh,
I thought you were going to be like, and then I had a staph infection.
Right. And then I lost my leg.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But like, that's kind of like the thing, like we all laughed about it and nobody was like, girl, maybe you should take a look at that. That's like kind of insane that you were bleeding so bad you needed stitches the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Just get her some breakfast. Night. It's fine.
Yeah. I was up the next night and I had my sustenance. Yeah.
Oh man,
Jesus
I know. Our priorities are all sorts of messed up when that happens.
Oh,
yeah,
and
funny.
Another great part of the story, my roommate ended up finding my wallet.
Oh, hell yeah.
Strewn on the ground on her way home. She found my ID, my credit card, all of it. I think that there was another time when I woke up and a university like police officer was at my bedroom door and handed me my little clutch, and it had all of my stuff still in it, including my fake ID.
Oh, at least he didn't kill you.
Yeah, so I was very lucky.
I know.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was very lucky, and I just saw that all of that as signs from the universe that I should just keep on going. So
yeah, obviously.
I know. How fucking lucky are we? God, I think about that sometimes now, sober. I'm like, God, how am I not dead or like raped 100%. And dead?
100%. Yes, or like in a car accident or killed people. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Well, I know we like touched
not to end on that
earlier.
note. Wait, what's your favorite seltzer brand? We'll end on like a.
My favorite seltzer brand? Yeah. La Croix.
Which flavor?
Oh, it depends. I go through phases. There was like a key lime phase, and there was like a just the original phase.
Okay.
I think I like berry
right
now.
Yeah, that's a good one. I have that in my fridge right now.
I'm drinking a Recess.
Right
oh, I like those. Those are so good.
It's really good. I love their Instagram account.
Mm-hmm.
Very funny.
And then just tell the squad where they can find you if they don't already follow you. And all that good stuff.
Yes, so they can find us. It's at Counterculture_Club on Instagram, or my sobriety account is at No Glitter in the Gutter, and our website is countercultureclubclt.com.
And
countercultureclt.com. That's it.
And tell everybody about. Give us like a mini blurb about coaching and when people can start booking with you.
Yeah, so I have done certified life coaching, and I'm offering, as a part of Counterculture Club, we're offering alcohol freedom coaching, which we kind of mentioned in the beginning. But what that is sort of what I was saying before, which is that everyone kind of should have a personalized path to recovery, to sobriety, because we all got here different ways. So I am working with women that are sober but are looking to be happy about it, honestly, like looking to have that freedom mindset, that a life of sobriety is a life of freedom and joy rather than deprivation. So it's kind of building your own patchwork, your own plan, and working on your own goals to get to that lifestyle.
Love it. And you're taking clients-ish. Give us like a month when you're going to begin.
Yeah, so
clients.
I'm taking clients now. We don't have the information on the website since it's we're still in the process of launching it on the site and building a new website. So they can reach out to us either on email or through our application. We have an application for membership, which they can find on our.
Amazing.
Also, by the time this airs, I feel like it will be on your website anyway, I'm sure. So
yes, depending on when.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. It was nice to see you again. We'll see you again.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah,
one day
it was so good to connect with you all, and we'll have to have you on another panel very soon.
We'll have to see you in real life one day.
Yes, please.
Of course.
All right,
Molly, we'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one. We'll talk soon.
You too. Talk soon.
Bye.
All right. So until we meet again,
be nice to yourself.
And don't forget, hangovers
suck.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Every review helps other listeners find us. Music by Dead Go West. Art by Kate Sander. For show notes and resources, check out seltzersquad.com.